Part 1.
You will hear the director of a childcare centre talking to the parent of a new child.
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6.
Good morning. My name is Bob Ferguson and I'm the director of Ascot Childcare Centre.
Oh, good morning. I'm Sally Ann Cullen. I made an appointment to enrol my daughter.
That's right. I've got the application form right here. Now, first I need some personal details. So the family name is Cullen, is that right?
That's right.
Now, what about your daughter? What does she like to be called?
Oh, her name is Alexandra, but we all just call her Alex. A-L-E-X.
Great. As you know, we organise the children into different age groups. There's the babies group, the toddlers, aged 2 to 3, and the preschoolers. They're aged 4 to 5. How old is your daughter?
Well, she'd go into the toddler group. She's just turned 3.
And we always like to make a note of our children's birthdays so we can celebrate it all together if they're at the centre on that day. When was she born?
Oh, the 8th of November.
Fine. And we also find it's a great help to know about siblings. Sometimes a problem at the centre can be related to problems with a sibling. Does she have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, a brother, Fraser. He's 2 years older.
So that would make him 5, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Fine. Now, we also need a contact address. Where do you live?
It's 108 Park Road. That's P-A-R-K, Maidstone.
Good. Now, last of all, we need a telephone number we can call if there are any problems.
Oh, well, I'll be at work and so will my husband, so the best number to call is 3467 8890.
Right. And is that a close relative?
Yes, it's my mother-in-law's number.
We prefer to make a note of how the person is related to the child, so I'll write down grandmother.
Yes.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 7 to 10.
That does make more sense.
Now, that's all of the personal details. We also like to try and get a picture of your child's personal development. Can you tell me if there are any specific problems she's having? For example, does she get on well with other children? Is sleeping a problem?
Oh, she gets on well with others, I think, but she does have trouble sleeping. We gave up her daytime nap a long time ago.
That's good to know. I'll make a note of that. She can just have some quiet time while the others are resting if she likes.
That should be fine. She enjoys drawing quietly.
Right. Now, what about other skills? We occasionally take the children swimming, fully supervised, of course, and we only go in a paddling pool as we don't expect them to swim by themselves yet. Does your daughter need a lot of help getting changed?
No, not at all. In fact, she's been able to get dressed in the mornings for over a year now, so no problems there.
That must be a big help for you. Now, what about the childcare arrangements? Are there any specific days you require?
Well, I work Monday to Wednesday, but my mother-in-law has agreed to look after her on Wednesdays.
So does that mean that you'll just need Monday and Tuesday for now?
That's right.
And what about the pick-up time? We offer extended hours for parents who work a great distance away.
I work until 3 o'clock, but it takes me about half an hour to drive home, so ideally I'd like to pick her up at 4 if that's okay.
That would be fine. Now, is there any other information you'd like?
That is the end of Part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You'll hear a conversation. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 20. Welcome to our program on Indian youth. Are young Indians different from their elders? Smarter, lazier, less obedient? We have invited an Indian sociologist, Mr. Singh, to share his views with us. Mr. Singh, many Indians complain that the new generation of Indians is too westernized and has lost touch with its culture. What's your opinion on that?
Whenever a country modernizes, there is speculation that the new generation will be dramatically different from those that preceded it, in particular more westernized. Much of that speculation is based on superficial observations regarding rock music and the like. However, most studies show that new generations retain much, though not all, of the core values of their culture. Cultures change very slowly. What is changing quickly is the environment in which they live, their living standards, opportunities for advancement, and self-fulfillment. Young Indians certainly have more opportunities today.
Where does your information come from?
I have 2 children in their early 20s. I see their generation at close quarters. I often travel to both rural and urban places in India, and I see the young people there. The current generation has, by and large, rejected politics as a primary concern. They have grown up with a TV and a telephone, either at home or in the vicinity. They have watched MTV, but they still go to the temple. And most of them seriously believe that God exists. Regarding the opportunities that Mr. Singh mentioned, for the first time, it is acceptable in India for a kid to say that he or she wants to be an actor, a singer, a fashion designer, a writer, a cricket player as a profession, without parents losing sleep. It also means that they have many choices of role model. When I look at young people around me, I see more hope than helplessness.
Mr. Singh, what is the main advantage that young people in India have?
The biggest advantage the youth of India have is mobility. It is very easy for them to move about the country and follow opportunities. An edge the Chinese youth, for example, do not currently have. Also, young Indians are quickly adapting to new technologies, and English is now being more widely accepted and spoken than ever before. India's youth have a very unique advantage, a combination of mobility, language, and knowledge of technology. Add to that a country that has an entrepreneurial spirit and a very clear intent to adapt to Western culture.
Are there any problems as far as you can see?
I think that the biggest overall problem is with infrastructure. But as far as things that directly affect the younger generation are concerned, I think that the main problem is that parents from the growing middle class are pushing their children ever harder at academic activities. They believe this is the only way to stand out and survive in a system which is cutthroat because of the exploding population and as education becomes more and more accessible to the masses. However, many parents are granting their children more choice, particularly in the area of choosing their own careers. The youth of today are definitely more aware of the choices available to them.
Do you think that competition is a problem?
Not at all. It leads to creativity. The younger generation is more creative. Competition ensures that creativity is likely to be the best way to get ahead. Though it is largely believed that the culture and value system torch-bearing youth are losing their way, I still believe that relates to a small percentage. The combination of the Indian value system and the Western approach is a winning one, and if the Indian youth can manage to achieve the right balance, global organizations will want their skills.
Mr. Singh, you sound very confident.
I am. Every generation will experience change. This will be more dramatic, especially in the context of development. Simply put, young Indians are more aware about the world they live in. They are more materialistic. They are consumers in the true sense. They are exposed to satellite TV, the internet, freer access to social interaction and mobility. They are global citizens. Adoption of styles and fashion from anywhere, particularly America, is quick. But as several surveys have shown, this openness and confidence does come with some sense of humility and purpose. I feel confident that they can dream and achieve. My generation could only dream.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3. Part 3.
You will hear two students, Jenna and Marco, discussing a business studies project they have to do. You now have 15 seconds to read questions 21 to 24.
Come on, Marco. We've got to get on and sort out this project for Professor Buckley.
Hang on. I want to make sure we've got all the information. Now, where are we?
Well, today we need to sort out exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to divide the work up.
Okay. How long have we got, by the way?
The end of term is April 6th. And he said to hand it in on week 8, so that's March 25th at the latest, because the beginning of that week is the 21st, so not long.
Right. Have you got the notes there?
Yes. He wants us to do a fairly small-scale study, like the last one, on whether or not businesses were offering more benefits to staff. And we've now got to look at the rise in older workers. It should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, as long as we keep it small. Who's marking it?
I don't know. Sometimes he gets the PhD students to mark it for him.
Oh, actually, it just says here, a senior lecturer. I suppose it's too much for Professor Barclay to do them all.
Yeah. Anyway, how are we going to go about this?
Well, we have to decide how big we want it to be and who.
Yeah, but I think we must sort out a timetable for the project. Otherwise, nothing will get done.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
All right. I'll do it as soon as we finish here.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
Okay, what do we have to do now for the project? What's the best way to go about it?
Well, Professor Carter suggested we set up a focus group to get some in-depth interviews, but I think that'll take a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree. If we did a focus group, we'd have to spend time deciding who to include in it, and it's not necessary to do one anyway.
Oh, fine.
And if you agree, I think we should get in touch with the businesses on the list Professor Carter gave us and ask them if they're prepared to participate.
Sounds good. Then we can go there, give them questionnaires and collect them later.
Exactly.
Okay. Then do we need to book one of those study rooms in the library so we can work together to input the data? Perhaps not, as I guess just one of us could just sort it out actually.
Yes, that would be easier. A lot of what we're doing is qualitative, so it'll be writing up rather than statistics. No software for that, I'm afraid.
And I think it would look better if we had actual shots of some of the staff, because we're citing appearance as a factor in employability, aren't we?
Yeah, okay. I'll factor that all in when I sort everything out tonight.
I'm glad we decided to work together. I think it's going to work out well.
Yes, well, given that we had to work in pairs on this project, I think we were right to choose each other. We complement each other academically, as we're each good at what the other isn't. In fact, we should have tried working together before.
Yes. Now, how shall we split the work? I'll do the analysis, shall I?
Oh, okay.
It's just that it might be faster, because I'm used to doing it. Although your English is better than mine. I need more practice at reading, really.
Okay, I'll do the presentation then, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind speaking in public, but I hate preparing all the notes for them.
The thing is, the tutor said one person should do the whole presentation, and he said he expects me to do it because I haven't done one yet.
No, that's fine. Now, let's see.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Welcome once again to Introduction to Dentistry, and in today's lecture we'll be looking at the history of dentistry through the ages. Now, skulls of the Cro-Magnon people who inhabited the Earth 25,000 years ago show evidence of tooth decay, and the earliest recorded mention of oral disease was in 5000 BC. This proves that oral disease is by no means a modern-day problem, and has in fact plagued humans since time began. That particular reference appeared in a text written by the ancient people of Sumeria, which referred to tooth worms. There is also evidence that dental problems caused difficulties in other early civilizations, and people from those times actually developed treatments for them. For example, we have found historical evidence that the Chinese used acupuncture to treat the pain associated with tooth decay. There is even further evidence of the troubles caused by toothache in the Ebers Papyrus, which is a text written between 1700 and 1500 BC by the people of ancient Egypt. This papyrus contains references to diseases of the teeth, as well as prescriptions for medications they used at that time. While today we automatically prescribe antibiotics, the ancient Egyptians relied on more traditional remedies to help with tooth decay. Firstly, olive oil, which even today is known to have therapeutic qualities, and secondly, onions, which again are an age-old traditional medicine, and are still recognized as a reliable source of natural antibiotics. A large proportion of early dentistry was practiced as a part of general medicine. However, by the 5th century BC, Herodotus, a Greek historian, made the following observation. In Egypt, medicine is practiced on a plan of separation. Each physician treats a single disorder and no more. Some undertake to cure diseases of the eye, others the head, and others again of the teeth. The Greeks were at the forefront of dentistry of that time, and it was a Greek physician who lived between 1300 and 1200 BC who chose to extract problem teeth long before anyone else. Arabs were also pioneers in the area of oral hygiene and used a small polishing stick as a toothbrush as early as 100 BC. So, what of Europe? Well, throughout the Middle Ages, dentistry was made available to the wealthier classes thanks to physicians who would visit individuals in their home, while dentistry for the poorer people took place in the marketplace. Italian sources from the 1400s mentioned the use of gold leaf as dental filling material, but it was a Frenchman, Pierre Fouchard, who is credited with being the father of modern dentistry to his book The Surgeon Dentist, a treatise on teeth, which describes basic oral anatomy, signs and symptoms of tooth decay.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.